Did you check for multicollinearity and like because half of the people that do okay don't know what they're doing. They don't understand what they're doing. So by the time you read their work critically, you understand this guy ran regression. He has no idea what regression is about. He has no idea what the assumption behind it. Somebody has collected data on 70 people and he said he ran regression. Which regression? Or you look at the confidence interval. It's as far from there to Akure. The first thing to do is you look. What this work says is that you don't have enough sample size. So you must critically look at the evidence. But if you don't know, how will you check? You know what about all or Boko? That's a very common phenomenon in our academic environment. You know, so nothing does not make any assumptions. Sometimes depending on the kind of work you do. So when we work on abortion in abortion circle, and we are talking about incidents of abortion, the methodology has a lot of built-in assumptions, a lot of assumptions. In fact, the entire thing about how do you generate data around abortion is assumption over assumption over assumption over assumptions. So if you don't understand those assumptions they are making, you don't be quoting figures as if they are written by God. So you must understand what are the assumptions in this study. I was saying, it was this class that was asking me about something. I was using the example of what we did in for Ondo State government when they did an intervention. Was it in this class about B? It was in Lagos. What's Lagos? This Lagos, you know, Lagos was exciting. We had a great time in Lagos. Fantastic time we had there. And we had to make assumptions. So when people say Abile worked and maternal mortality was reduced, I look at them like this and I will laugh. Because we wrote it, and we made assumptions. But people don't even know the assumption we made. Did it work? Yes, we believe so. But this was a work that has no baseline. There was no baseline. But we have to make an assumption as to how we can. I didn't collect maternal mortality figures, but its aim is to reduce maternal mortality. So what are the assumptions that we made to come to? If those assumptions are wrong, our conclusion will be wrong. And I can tell the assumption we made there, I think was solid. You know, what will I say? That is not my work, and I got paid for it. You know, if you know me now, I'm not afraid to even talk about my own work. When I find that it's not as distinct, you know, as you grow, sometimes you do some work, like, but you should make. Who published you? No, you don't put in your CV again. Somebody should know. You know, we all grow step by step. That's life. That's like we all grow. So you must understand when people have made the assumption. What are the assumptions? Because it helps you to put the findings in perspective. What's the next thing? What's that not being said? I tell obvious that like, this guy is hiding something. You know, sometimes you see a table, you see some deviations, but because the guy wants parsimony, so I can get. My wife was examining a candidate. You know, every time she asks a candidate to examine in surgical field, I always read part of the methodology. And somebody wants to test if honey works against something. And you can see the guy walking towards an answer. You know? He wants to test people who have low level of trauma and use honey for their wound. And those who have high trauma use other method. I'm like, before I'm called exactly. Or the example I gave in Lagos. A resident doctor in Lagos called me recently and said he wants to do a work, he wants to do intervention, educational intervention to change behavior. And they asked him, how long? He said, in 3 months, we'll teach them. I'm like, that's what the theory of behavior should tells you. In 3 months, if that's all of us will have changed, we have been there in Nigeria. You know how many times we preach about corruption? How many of us have changed? No, because behavior change won't happen in 3 months. So, but how will you teach them? If the answer not clear, you taught them. They will increase it now. Even if they don't increase, we increase it by yourself by a figure. You know, so you see, I like things that are actually there, but you see the guy not seeing it. I like things that we try to avoid confronting. Is there bias? Of course, if you don't know what bias is, you can't look for bias. You know, we talk about 2 classes of bias. Classical epidemiology. We talk about the population bias, and talk about the information bias. The example I used to give when I used to teach epidemiology, epidemiology was what I used to teach those days when I first came back, and it's my first love actually. Epidemiology, I'll give you an example. I said, look, you come to do a survey at home this morning to look at sickness, how common sicknesses are. Of course, by coming to the house at this time, those who are not sick, they've gone out. Abi? That's true. If you are sick, if you are not sick, what am I going to be doing at home now? So, and I then report the proportion of sickness is this. You know, it's not true, because that figure, that people, they are a biased population. They are not random. They are not representative. You go and do a survey and say, look, because of convenience, I'm doing a survey on arthritis. I have selected only those who are on ground floor. Where when the person living with arthritis live? Upstairs. You know, but if people don't understand what bias means, they cannot look for them and control for them. And that talks about knowing science, the potent science. You know what my talking about potent science? It was in this class, so don't look at me like that. This class I was talking about how to do, when we are talking about proposals. And I was talking about number 1, powerful ideas. Number 2, potent science. You wasn't know in this class? Yes. Femi, must do an exam today. The one I taught last day, forgot to know. You know, if you don't know your science, you can't identify if the guy has bias or not. You know, information bias, the kind of people, and I think, is there a confounder here that is not corrected for? Is there other issues that you should be looking for? Okay. How is the text relevant to your project or assignment? To your own. Because ultimately that's what you are all after. And finally, how does this link with other text that you read? If the results are not agreeing, what's the issue? You want to go back and look at methodology, you want to look at a few other things. Alright. Sometimes it might be useful to synthesize our information. This takes time. But if you can do this, it helps. When you know, people use something like an Excel and you summarize everybody. When you do that, one of the key issues that you can very quickly see commonalities in findings and see differences. So assigning, and it's not compulsory to use this heading, you can use more heading to say what's the author, what's the year, what type of source. When you do this well, you don't need to be looking at your papers again because you have the summary of all you need to write here. But it takes time. But you know, it's like, and that's life. If you dig shallow foundation, you will build only bungalow. If your foundation is deeper, you can build more rapidly and can build higher. So if you are taking the time to do this, time of writing becomes much faster to go. All right. You can categorize your evidence into teams. This came from my thesis, by the way. I work on sexting in my PhD. I was looking at relationship with certain mental health related issues and sexual behaviors. And at that point in time, everybody uses the word sexting for different things. If you just send graphic picture that is has sexual connotation, is sexting. If you send a message that has connotation of sexual issues, is sexting. You know, so the first time to ask myself is, what exactly is sexting? That as people have used it. Because when somebody had combined picture with words and his prevalence is higher than the other places, it's probably because of the combination of how he has defined it as against the other person. Does that make sense? So I have to ask myself, what are definition? Images only. And I look at those who define theirs with images only. Ferguson 2011, Glada 2012, blah, blah, blah. Then I look at those who define their own as messages and images. So when I began to then talk about prevalence of sexing in different school population, I don't need to mix apple and orange. I classify those who did by image alone, I then have the table for those who did by different methods, so that it's clear that I'm talking about two different things, even though they are similar concepts. So I then said to myself, prevalence, okay, among young people, less than 50. I was looking at those who are going to say less than 50 and those who are going to say more than 50. And if you find out those who are less than 50 are mostly those who use images only. You know, so things like that. You know, this thing will always fall. And then I was talking about, okay, who are those who find association between sexting and depression? So once I have something like this, I always tell my resident doctors, you can write your conclusion, your discussion without having a result. Don't quote me. If you are pressed for time, if you have classified the finding, all you need to know is where did your finding fall onto. If it's less than 50% of sexting, I know those to quote because I already have classified them according to the work of Sternborn. If I look at it and it found association, I already have known those who have association. So I'm saying, oh, that's what Temple found too. And I go and look at Temple, so. But I'm not unharassed like a scattered brain in the middle of writing discussion. This is how I have approached it in my own real life. No, I don't, not the theory. In real life, this is how I have approached it. All right. Let's talk about how to analyze and interpret. Organize your literature. You can organize it thematically, chronologically, geographic context, or methodologically. Okay. Having the review, use evidence, be selective, summarize, synthesize, keep your own voice, otherwise it becomes plagiarism. Use caution when paraphrasing. One model is go from known or unknown question and methods. If you are going to structure, you can start introduction, the one that is distantly related, then move from there to the one that are closer to what you are doing, and then go to one that are peculiar to your work. You know, just what matters is a way of thinking and a way of guiding. So when I'm reading your work, you know, it's like telling stories. I tell people all the time, good writing is like telling stories. You know how you tell stories. You will have thought about it. Jacob must go to the market first before he carry him, and before they cut him, and before they punish him. They can't punish him before he still the yam now. I mean, so it's silly. Think about it. So just we have to structure it that way. If it's storytelling in a different way. Topic from broad to narrow. We can go from broad to narrow. This again came from my work, by the way. I just copied and dumped it. Young adult and computer-mediated communication, global and national context. Because there's something that goes back to sexing. It is the computer-mediated communication. That's okay. The evolution of the terminology, the concept, then the characterization and typology, then sexting in essay literature, typology of use testing, context, prevalence. So you don't need to agree with me. You can critique this and you have the right to. But the point is, I have an organization in my head. I'm just not dumping words and dumping literature. Alright. These are somebody's work. I was looking at factors affecting cardiovascular health. When you look at the literature, you find that there are a couple of things. And they say, look, this is where I'm going to map it. Introduction, the psychological factor, the physical factor, the hereditary factor, the diet factor, and then you put together and you conclude. So at the back of his mind, he knows how he's going, he knows where he's going, and how he's going. Cash. All right. So, tip for literature review. You got your objective, right? Yes, you agree?
Yes, sir.
it should be used critically with agree. We talk about that. Factual elements that are not of general knowledge must be referenced. Please don't tell me Nigerian independence is 1st of October 19 and Nigeria celebrates independence every 1st of October. I'll put reference. I'm not sure you need reference. But if you want to reference the day Nigeria did this, or somebody who said Nigeria must be doing independence, or they can, because but if it's of general knowledge, you don't need reference. And then cognize your writing. I've told you there are many ways you can use any model. Common mistake: failure to define and identify the most relevant sources to use. Just that you just jump to the market. Any literature I see, I just quote it. Number 2, concentration on secondary resources rather than include relevant primary studies. Let me give an example, and this is very common. Somebody will say Nigeria has a population of 200 million, and he will quote the work of Messi that went to do a work in Elijah. Where did he do your work? Maybe it's my friend, I must do it. That's how I ask my friends. So please don't be my friend if you don't want to be. Messi in an introduction talk about Nigeria as a background. I said, how will you quote Messi? Was Messi the one that counted Nigerians? So you have to go and quote the person Messi quote by checking that one first. Because if Messi misquote, they are going to misquote.
That's true.
That's how lies become truth. You quote him, I quote him, you quote him, I quote him. At the end of the day, you don't even know who started the lie. When I was in the US 2000, and if I have time, if I go to Ife before this weekend, I will bring this book, or if I find it in my house. There's a book we always quote that gives us the absorption of pregnancies that will be aborted spontaneously. There's a guy who did a life table. I think he published the work 1960 or 70 something. Everybody have been quoting that work. Of course, me, I want to publish it. I have to quote that work. I ordered that book. It's my house. That's why when the bibliographers and the librarians will tell me sometimes that, oh, this work is 4 or 5 years, whatever, you can't put in our literature, you can't put it in our shelf. No. They have to satisfy UC. There are works published in the 60s that no other work had been published in that area. Because the ethical dimension there was so lax that they could do that work. You can't repeat it today. I ordered the book. It's in my shelf. I want to see what the guy said before I misquote anybody. So always go to the primary sources rather than quoting secondary sources. They said they say. That's how Nigerian civil war started. Number 3, on critical acceptance of other researchers' findings and explanation as valid without critically examining them and evaluating them. Number 4, when people report isolated findings rather than synthesizing to build an overall picture. Number 5, when you look at it, if I include this man's work, he's going to throw sand into my eyes. Let me just include the work that supports my. Number 6, lack of description of the procedure you use, particularly when you are doing systematic review. How did you do your search? What number of papers do you find? What do you then do next to lower the number of papers and blah blah blah. Okay. From literature review from literature side to literature writing, some good tips. 1, write sequentially. Tell a story. If you cannot tell a story, if it doesn't sound like a story, you have not done good writing. Number 2, don't write long sentences. Sometimes I read people's sentences. I've read sentences that are like half a page. I will put them like 3 long. I don't write it long. I don't 3 long. Somebody is lying. It happens to me too. It's so easy to write long sentences. So when I finish writing, I I'll go back and start reading. Because short sentences are more powerful, the ideas are clearer, and the opportunity to understand it is better. So write short sentences. Use paragraph effectively. Don't write one-page paragraph. I've read 2 pages paragraph. That paragraph starts on page 4. I've page 5. I've seen it. I'm like, use paragraph effectively. Some will tell you that if you have 8 to 10 sentences, you should almost be done with a good paragraph. Write in a critical manner. We already said about that. Paint a cohesive and balanced picture. The negative and the positive. Let's see. Check your grammar with available software. I think that's the easiest thing anybody can do. Use Microsoft function. Use Grammarly. If you don't have money for the paid one, use the free one. It won't give you everything, but it will give you enough. It might give you some good and some equity, but it will still give you. Okay? I tell people it doesn't make sense for you to submit a work to me that you have not read critically. I hope I will read it. I don't read it. After reading 3 or 4 sentences, I stop. They sent me work, part 2 work that I should read. I read like 3 pages and I sent it back. I said, I'm sorry, I can't read it any longer. Every time I read it, it gives me a headache. No, I'm not lying. That was what I told them. I said, as I open a new page, I have a headache. I can't read anymore. Go and look for somebody else to read this. I've read works of kindness of my colleague that I wrote back said, please let this person go and consult an English editor first before you turn to me. I've read works that I have written back and said, I don't know if the supervisor ever read this work before this. So the examiners, the chief examiner, when they send me work, is careful. Because I don't know that kind of, because if you have not read your work, why should I read it? It's not fair. There is why someone has not read your work. Why are you asking me to read it? So do yourself good. Pay attention to your own work. Do the needful. The little needful, please do it before you ask us to do it. Okay, let's conclude. I'm sure we are done. Now, when you think about this, literary review. Plan, select a topic, organize this, analyze and synthesize, write your first draft, edit and redraft, finalize this. This one can go on several times, can be an introduction process, but this is a complete picture. All right, let's end. Can we read this together?
Evaluate and compare original research results. That's the area.
Excellent what?
Starting point.
Not midpoint. Not when you are writing to the middle. Like, I have to now write my. That's why I said, always insist. If you work with me, you must show me evidence you have read the literature. Because it's a starting point in this whole process. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, take a point. For literature review, we need to poor quality study. No relevance of study topic, poor methodological approaches, low quality write-up, inadequate conclusions. Let's read this together.
Literature review plays a critical role in scholarship because science remains first and foremost a cumulative endeavor.
You are not the first person to have written that in your writing. And do you notice? I can't find the original work. I found only this guy. So I have to say, this was where I found it. I looked for this guy, I couldn't find him. So if it is wrong, and this guy that said to me, this is what you should do. This is how to be honest in academics. I found it here, but he said this is mine, I said it, and I couldn't find the man. Okay, some things you can, some references if you like to read. Enjoy the whole day. I will end this with telling you one lie. In my library, there are books only on how to write literature review. Entire books, complete book, published on how to write. Why am I saying this? There is nothing that doesn't have a science. And the more you understand the science, the more you can flourish in the area. So be encouraged. take your time, read about everything you think you know. You can know more than you have known. Enjoy the rest of the day. Any questions? No, I hope it's not about borrowing my books.
Okay, now that also actually. Just be positive.
I know you are good with frameworks. How have you been able to conceptual this framework?
Look, Professor Asa is there. Professor Adedina is there. They're going to, I think there's a lecture around concept, framework, and that
They
is.
must have taken that, yes.
Oh, okay.
Standardization.
I have to be, I'm leading a meeting shortly. We have an international meeting online. But when I come back, if I do come back, we can talk about it. But if not, today, do you have another class today? I don't have another class throughout this week. Don't worry. Questions? No, I have to go. When we go out for socials tomorrow, you can find the question. But remember that it's socials. I may refuse to answer the questions. But yeah.
We'll be rounding up tomorrow.
Oh,
So
are people traveling tomorrow?
No.
Are you traveling tomorrow?
I'm not.
I don't people are traveling tomorrow.
Nobody.
Okay, that's fine.
Left.
Yeah. So
The travel will now be on Thursday.
no, that's fine. So tell who organized the last visit you had? Was it Toyin?
Yes.
Call Toyin. So I just count the number of people in. And Gladys can take care of it.
We had initial presentations yesterday.
Okay.
So we hope
I was going to come yesterday.
But tomorrow will be the grand finale in case you are not available today. But we need you tomorrow.
We'll see how tomorrow.